Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Tonight's film is 1976's Joel M. Reed's Bloodbath. This is Joel M. Reed's Bloodbath from 1976. This is put out by Subversive Cinema. You can see that right there. This is a slipcover, has a 42-minute documentary and trailers. You can get this, I believe, for still a great price, new and used on eBay and Amazon. Even though I believe it might not be in print completely, you can get this for good prices still. From what I believe, I got this, I think, like new condition on Amazon for a really good price. Joel M. Reed's Bloodbath. All right, folks, we're starting off here. Joel M. Reed, in the same year, 1976, put out one of my favorite films named Blood-Sucking Freaks that Troma actually distributes and recently put on Blu-ray as well. So this is his film Bloodbath, which I was not familiar with, but I am very familiar with Bloodsucking Freaks. Bloodbath is an anthology film. It is a horror, weird, bizarro anthology film. And I got to tell you this right off the bat. This is crazy. The Raymond's mother from Everybody Loves Raymond, also kind of the crazy grandmother from Grandma's Boy, you know, like this famous woman. I think her name is Doris Roberts. She's in this freaking movie. You'll see a cameo from her in this film. It freaking shocked me when I saw her. I mean, I could see from her youth that was her. Also, PJ Souls has a quick shot in this film. This is a really early, type of role for her, but I mean, not that early, but a couple years before Halloween. But PJ Souls is in this film, and the Raymond's mother from the TV show Everybody Loves Raymond. So some crazy type of stuff like that, folks. But what we have here is an anthology film, and there's an anthology film, and the wraparound story for this anthology film is a group of actors. Having dinner at this famous horror director's home, and they are sharing stories with each other over dinner. Now, I got to tell you, kind of right off the bat, the movie starts in a way that will shock you, that will intrigue you, that will almost took me for a Jess Franco loop. I don't want to say too much, but it's a great start to the film that intrigues you and gives you a very weird, bizarre feeling that this film will continually give you as it moves on. And we have some really interesting themes in this film for a horror anthology film, but really, one of them is kind of the supernatural, the occult. Are they real? Or are they just fabrications of cinema? Fabrications and just, things to make money off of. The black arts, black magic. These are some things here. Now, as I say that, you're thinking it's going to be a certain way. Like, as I say that, you're thinking in your head right now what kind of horror anthology film this is going to be. I want you to take all of that and I want you to throw it out the window right now, because this is not what you're expecting at all from what I just told you. I want to tell you off the bat here, I love Joel M. Reed's Bloodsucking Freaks. And this film is rated PG. You're going to see that when you first push play, and you're going to be like, wait, what? First off, it's called Bloodbath. Secondly, Joel M. Reed the same year put out Bloodsucking Freaks, which in most circles would be considered like an NC-17 film. Okay, so that's shocking, from the get-go. PG. Now, PG back in the day is different than PG today. I mean, most Disney Pixar films today are rated PG, like Cars or whatever. But PG back then, I mean, we're talking, PG back then, like the 70s Invasion of the Body Snatchers with some nudity in it and some violence. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which really kicked it off, into PG-13 rating system later on, and Gremlins and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I can tell Joel M. Reed did this film the same year. It just has this amazing feel to it. Even the music is very similar to me, to Bloodsucking Freaks. It's kind of this weird, kind of empty, vacant, low-budget organ kind of sleazy sound to the music. It's mysterious, it's creepy, it's weird, organy, synthesized. Um, it just reminds me of Bloodsucking Freaks. It reminds me of a really underground theater show that you're going to see, like Sardu's and Bloodsucking Freaks. I keep mentioning that, but the sets in here are so weird. Predominantly for the dinner party wraparound story, where you have everything around them is pitch black, and it just has this awesome feel. And I know this is a very low budget film, but it adds to the awesomeness of this. Like, it's just pitch black around like a bed or around the dinner table or around, and it just provides atmosphere. It provides this weird atmosphere, and you can see that it's like, we can kind of get the vibe that it's a set. You know what I'm saying? But the actual stories don't have that pitch blackness around it. It's really only kind of the wraparound story, so to speak. And then you have this really weird statue of Lucifer in the wraparound story also. Very interesting things going on here. Now, I got to tell you right off the bat, so these people are sharing stories with each other over dinner, and I don't give away, stuff or whatever, but I got to tell you, these are some very weird, unique, original freaking stories. We're working on a very low budget here, and guess what? Money has nothing to do with creativity. Obviously from Bloodsucking Freaks. But this is a movie that, my gosh, I mean, I could see people calling a lot of elements of it campy and like campy horror and things like that. But I was really digging these individual stories and the twists in these stories. And two of the stories in particular really made me feel very claustrophobic. Just really did. I think it's the latter, the last two stories really made me feel claustrophobic in an authentic way. Like I was getting palpitations. And this is a really weird. It's a horror anthology film called Bloodbath, but it's not using any of the normal tropes of a horror anthology film. And I love horror anthology films, but this one is not using any of the typical ammunition, any of the typical story pieces. I mean, of course, we have this overriding theme of the occult and the supernatural and blah, 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 but the way that stuff comes out in the specifics of each story is completely original and nuts. I mean, we even have some stuff going on with martial arts in one of the stories with a twist at the end that is freaking crazy. There's even a twist for the wraparound story that has the most blood out of anything at the end of the film. And there are severed limbs in this movie. Oh my gosh, the weirdest ghost story you've ever seen. I don't want to say too much. There's crazy stuff. Two of them have fortune tellers. There's crazy stuff with wishes being fulfilled in a way that you would never expect involving Napoleon Bonaparte. I mean, this is some really, really crazy stuff. And it's very weird. It's very original. And even though there's no nudity, there's definitely some sleazy vibes. Just some sleazy vibes. Because Bloodsucking Freaks, Joel M. Reed's other film from this year, obviously, if you haven't seen it, it is the definition of sleaze, and gore and political incorrectness, and it's a beautiful film. But this film still has that sleazy type of element. But it's really taking things and just throwing them on its head and doing things very differently. This is, I gotta tell you, like, seriously, this is a really, really interesting film, and especially dealing with the occult, like I said, and even some imagery of Lucifer and things like that, and just not in the typical way. So you have typical themes, for a horror film or for a horror anthology film, but the way that it's pushed out, folks, not typical at all. There's so much originality in this film. It's just it's freaking crazy. There's a guy with no limbs, and you hear the story of how he got no limbs. Um, the twists at the ends of the stories are actually pretty freaking awesome, and 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 um and and weird and crazy, and they almost have a morality type twist like Tales from the Crypt or Creep Show. They almost have that. It almost seems like that. um and the women in the film that are in the film are actually attractive. There's the acting is really solid. In particular, the one story with the ghost, really solid acting all around. And we're working with stuff here, folks, that is on a lower budget, and the originality and the creativity, this is a PG rated horror anthology that is quite freaking bizarre, weird, um freaky. There's some blood, there's some severed limbs, and a lot of originality, and even some creatures. Yes, folks, even some demonic creatures that look like nothing you've seen before. Um, Look into the crystal ball here, folks. We got some wild stuff in store for you. Joel M. Reed's Bloodbath from 1976, put out by Subversive Cinema with a slipcover, awesome, and some great artwork on the inside, and I think just like a little booklet in there or a poster or something. You can't beat this. So try to get it like new or new with everything inside of it if you get it. I this is just something great, and I can't believe it's PG. So you could even show this to people who can't, younger people who want to get them into weird stuff or want to get them into horror films. This would be a great movie to do that with, because there's no nudity. There's one racial slur in the film, and there's some blood, but there's not like quote unquote gore, type of stuff. And you can definitely see Joel M. Reed's handprint on this film, even with the way he does violence and the way he does the severed limbs and things like that. So this is Joel M. Reed's Bloodbath. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. 1976, here it is, folks. Please feel free to check out all my other reviews, and please feel free to check out my own personal films at youtube.com/poopy diarrhea. Thank you so much, and good night.